Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us today on Leadership Log, which is a podcast on topics of interest for the Air Force Lifecycle Management Center community. Today, we're going to be discussing career planning, specifically career planning from a personal fulfillment standpoint. So let's go around before we get started in the discussion and have everybody introduce each other. We'll start with Ms. Markman.
Hey, Daryl, how are you? I'm on taking a little bit of leave so you can see me out having a nice time. But this was really important to me. So I wanted to get on board here and be able to talk about this with everybody across the command. So my name's Ann Markman, and I'm the senior functional for CAUSE for C3INN. And a CAUSE, for those who don't know it, is cyber operation security, or the IT career area. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll go to Ms. Tillman.
Good afternoon, Daryl. Nice to see you. My name is Alicia Tillman. I am the financial management at the Hanscom operating location at Hanscom Air Force Base in Massachusetts.
And Mr. Wyman.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Dan Wyman. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for the Armament Systems Development Division down at Eglin Air Force Base, in the obviously financial management career field.
All right. And we'll go to, Mr. Platt.
Hello, everyone. My name is Philip Platt. I'm the Chief Resource Management Division for the Logistics Directorate. We manage the placement and the hiring and also the training for the logistics community in Lifecycle Management Center.
Thanks, sir. Ms. Levine.
Hi, I'm Heather Levine. I'm currently a Senior Program Manager for Strategic Services in the Lifecycle Management Center.
Thank you. Welcome. And Mr. Bauman.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mike Bauman with the 88th Air Base Wing. I'm Chief of the Engineering Division in the Civil Engineer Group here at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Mr. Agnew.
Good afternoon. I'm John Agnew. I'm representing the Engineering Directorate, and I'm the Avionics Division Chief at Wright-Patterson.
Okay. Ms. Smith.
Good afternoon. I'm Jean Smith, and I'm the Contracting Senior Functional for the Bombers Directorate here at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Cruz.
Hi, I'm Cindy Cruz. I'm the Chief of Contracting for Business and Enterprise Systems, PEO. I'm physically located at Gunter Annex in Montgomery, Alabama, but I do have offices at Randolph Air Force Base and also at Wright-Pat.
And Mr. Pace.
Good afternoon. I'm John Pace. I'm the HR Chief for Program Management. I work as the Resource Division Chief in AQ, and I'm here at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
All right. Well, thanks. And again, welcome everybody. Let's get right to it. So we should start at the beginning. How did your career journey begin? And most importantly, what attracted you to working in the Air Force? And we will go with Mr. Agnew to start.
So I grew up in the area around Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So when I was in college and home for the summers, I got a couple summer internships at Wright-Patterson, and that piqued my interest in what was going on in the Air Force. And during that time, I really identified with the mission of the Air Force and decided that that's what I wanted to make my career. So after college, I joined the Engineering Directorate as a navigation engineer, and that's how I got started. But I think the biggest thing for me was developing a passion and interest in airplanes and the mission of the Air Force. So that's my little story.
And we'll go to Mr. Wyman.
Hey, good afternoon. For me, I started actually on the active duty side. So out of college, went through the ROTC program, and what drew me to it was the sense of camaraderie and being part of something bigger than myself. But what's really kept me around as a civilian, I transitioned to a civilian after a few years, was the premium the Air Force puts on its workforce and the ability to do anything from the transactional or tactical level all the way up to strategic, and the ability to do it worldwide within the same organization. So just the tremendous amount of opportunity and then the value that the Air Force puts on its workforce.
Mr. Bauman.
Yeah, I've been here with the Air Force for 34 years, and I'd have to say when I first got hired here, it was a job, because there was a whole lot of jobs out there when I came out of college, and it was, frankly, just there was something I could get a job at. However, after being here a very short time, it was just rewarding to see, to be able to see work completed in my time and see projects complete on the base and how that impacted the missions here on the installation. So I grew into some pride into the overall Air Force mission and what all our customers do on the installation. So started out as it was a job. I was happy to have one, but it grew into a career that I never anticipated being here this long. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Levine.
So I actually wanted to be active duty when I was growing up. I grew up in a military household, and national defense has always just been a core part of my life. 9/11 hit when I was in college, and I thought I'd probably be deployed and separated from my family for long periods of time, and realized that active duty wasn't right for me. So the civilian career has given me the opportunity to really fulfill what I'm passionate about, but I'm still able to work the 40-hour weeks if I'd like to, and I can still balance my career and my family in a way that I didn't feel I would be able to do active duty.
And Ms. Cruz.
Thank you. So I started out as a military spouse. My husband was active duty, and he was actually in contracting at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And a person that he worked with encouraged me to apply for a copper cap position. And so I was selected as a copper cap, and I started out there at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Initially, I just really loved the Air Force. My dad was Air Force, my husband was Air Force. It was really all I ever knew. But as I got into the contracting career field, it was so fulfilling to have the opportunity to really be a problem solver. And I just enjoyed the work that I was doing and the ability that I had to solve problems and feel like I was actually contributing to helping the warfighter. So I just enjoyed it so much. I've stayed with it 26 years.
Thank you, ma'am. And Ms. Smith.
Thank you. My career path was a little different. I actually started as an underwriter in my professional career for a group life insurance team, and it was a little stressful, so I was looking for something different. And my family, I had a history of civilian service in my family. My grandparents both worked at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. My dad was in Air Force, he was in the Air Force, so that piqued my interest. And at that point, when I transitioned to the Air Force employment, I found fulfillment because of supporting and having an influence for the bigger Air Force.
So it's interesting already that several of you have mentioned personal fulfillment as being an element in what drew you to a career, or at least drew you to staying with the career for a while. So let's just kind of explore that topic a little more, and maybe if you could discuss how personal fulfillment within positions that you previously held drew you in, or maybe the personal fulfillment that you feel in the position that you're currently in now is attracting you to your career. Who would like to take that first? Let's go, Ms. Cruz.
Thank you. So I will say early on, the personal fulfillment came, as I discussed earlier, from being able to problem solve. I really enjoyed that. There was a time when it was difficult to work with the PMs and understand what their requirements were and get things on contract quickly. And so I really took that as a personal challenge, just to figure out how to say yes and get them the requirements met and fulfill the mission. And I enjoyed that very much. Then as I progressed in my career, what I've enjoyed most over the last couple of years, and specifically the job I'm in now, is I get to help other people see the potential that they have and help them develop their career goals and progress in their career, much like my mentors did for me along the way. Thank you.
Thanks. And Mr. Pace.
Yeah, I go back a little bit to the previous question. At a young age, I love to work. And as I looked for opportunities to start a career, it seemed that they were pretty limited. Back in the early 1980s, jobs were hard to come by. And I joined the Air Force, enlisted, and I absolutely fell in love with the fact that I was contributing to something much bigger than me. And not only that, but I was rewarded in the work that I did, in the support that I was able to provide. And I didn't find it boring. If I met a challenge and I wanted to strive for something bigger, then there was another career path available, or there was another promotion opportunity to compete for or work towards. So there was always something in the bigger Air Force that allowed me to grow professionally and personally, and so I found it very fulfilling. Not only that, but that camaraderie of working with a team where everybody is working towards the same goal, objectives, and supporting the mission. And my career has taken a lot of different paths, but the job I'm in now, doing HR, I don't exist for the purpose of doing HR work. I exist for the purpose of trying to provide programs that support the people that are performing the mission. And that does something for me personally. So anytime I look for a different job or a new job opportunity, I look for something that's going to provide me the ability to have an impact. And that impact is kind of what feeds me professionally, I think, and personally, so I can't imagine a better place to work. I really can't. I love what I do, and I love the fact that I have the ability to impact people that have the same goal.
Thanks, sir. And Ms. Smith.
I have to at least piggyback off of Mrs. Cruz's comments. Being in contracting, the fulfillment I received was just being able to problem solve, to build strategies, to come up with effective solutions. And to the point she raised earlier, we work in a very an environment that can be a little contrary with our program managers. So building those relationships and coming to an end goal was very fulfilling for me. And to include transitioning to a leadership position. In that position, we have the ability to shape the careers of our junior workforce, and coaching and mentoring has been the ultimate fulfillment.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Wyman.
Yeah, thank you. Definitely agree. Helping and working with others is a huge driver for me in terms of just the fulfillment I get out of my job. Aside from that, it's just the goal setting, whether it be personally or professionally. That's what drives me, setting a goal and then working towards it. And in every job I've had with the Air Force, that's what we've done. It's just a series of goals, and then teaming to try to accomplish those. So that's a huge motivator for me, as well as diversity of experience. I'm one that fears death by monotony. We're not going in and feeding a machine, so to speak, in the Air Force, where we have the opportunity to mix up our careers, and so that's helpful to me in keeping me fed in terms of my keeping my spirit up.
Thanks, sir. Ms. Tillman.
Hi, thank you. Very similar to prior comments, but a big thing for me is two things really to learn. I always want to learn new things. What's the next thing that I can go to? So, having the opportunity to have different kinds of jobs and different specialties within the financial management career field, the different types of programs, just always, because it's a whole new set of parameters, right? It's still the Air Force mission, but it's different parts of the Air Force mission. And so you get new teammates, you get new challenges programmatically, opportunities there. And so working through all those and meeting those people and how everybody works together, or how we can be working together to be more efficient, and kind of working through some of that, just learning the technical piece of the job is really awesome too. I enjoy that. The other part is the people. That to me is just fantastic when you see a trainee that's gone through their program and they get to the end and they graduate and they finish their Knowledge Board, or somebody works really hard and is able to gain a promotion, and just watching them find their successes themselves as they continue to move forward with people that you've talked to and influenced is very rewarding. Thank you.
Mr. Bauman.
Yeah, one thing to add to the discussion is generally it's in my career, being able to see how what I do and where I am, how that makes a difference, how that fits into the total picture of the Air Force's mission, particularly the customers, being in the Air Base wing, supporting the installation and all its mission partners. It's really important to understand how it fits in the entire picture, and that's what we always try to explain to our incoming folks is this is the impact you have to the overall Air Force mission, not just this facility that you're working on today, but just the whole picture of that. And also another key point of fulfillment that I've seen over my career is there's such an opportunity for professional development and training and other avenues in this career that seems to be unmatched on any other organization. There's so many opportunities for really no cost training that's outstanding to help develop not only professional skills, but also those soft skills and communication and negotiations, conflict resolution, et cetera. So there's just a wide variety of ways to develop as in your career in terms of all those skill sets that aren't really necessarily your job related to the task, but certainly professional and personal related.
And Mr. Agnew? Oh, come off mute, sir.
Whoops. Sorry about that. So just to add a little bit to that, the personal fulfillment is, as the word says, is personal. So finding your own rewarding behavior. So for me, no matter what the job, doing a good job, working your hardest, putting in 100%, being proud of your work is no matter what you're doing. That's a big key or can be a big key to personal fulfillment. And then the other is, as has already been mentioned here, is the tie to the warfighter. In all my jobs through the Air Force, and I think any job in the Air Force can be tied to, the 18-year-old that's out there in bad parts of the world defending what we enjoy here in the United States. So I think being aware and reflecting on that connection to that is really what makes our jobs in the Air Force different than, designing refrigerators and such.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. Mr. Platt.
First, I echo all of the aforementioned comments. Personal fulfillment for me is basically a sense of accomplishment. I like the thing of many times starting from a blank sheet, maybe not totally blank, but you're dealing with a concept and you have put together with the team and you're given the task to go forth and complete in X amount of time. I find that very challenging and fulfilling, especially when it becomes a successful product or service. And all of us know that there's different levels of success, but again, bringing the together to reach that desired effect is very fulfilling to me. And just to echo some of the other comments about what attracted me and kept me in this career field, or kept me with the Air Force, is those things that you may not be able to get, like the educational opportunities, the travel opportunities that you get when you're working different programs. And of course, the people makes it all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So we know that career paths nowadays specifically, they rarely follow a linear trail. They probably follow different sorts of routes. So I wanted to discuss what are some times where your career path maybe took a different direction, influenced by your need to be for personal fulfillment. And let's go with Mr. Bauman. Can you start with that?
Yeah, from my personal experiences, it's usually been an upward trajectory in terms of I've had that opportunity and fortunate to be able to move in that manner. But I've also seen from coworkers and also other opportunities out there that getting experiences that are a little bit out of the comfort zone and other parallel functions in your organization is valuable to understand the entire picture as you move through your career, as well as any special teams that come up or special focused opportunities that may be out there. For instance, it was a time in my career where I was kind of pulled out to be on a team on the old A76 process to look at how the government, where they keep the jobs in-house or not. And so that was a long, way outside my comfort zone and a little bit unnerving at times, but it really taught a lot about teamwork, working with many people to try to work through a process that was really unknown. And it really helped develop those skills for future in working with a large complex team or across the board, lots of different backgrounds to resolve or come to a final conclusion.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Levine.
So I have to say, I absolutely love the fact that this career is not cookie cutter. So we have the opportunities to do all sorts of different things. And I think I heard it best, somebody compared it to a lattice now instead of a ladder. So you're not necessarily going straight up anymore. You can sidestep and like he said, you could do cross-functional experiences, or you can go back to something you've kind of done before and get a little bit more depth. For me, this has been amazing because as I mentioned earlier, family is very important to me. So there was a time where I really had to throttle back a little on my career and get some opportunities that maybe allowed me a little bit more freedom so that I could concentrate a bit more on my family. But then there have been other times where I could plan better. For example, the DoD's Executive Leadership Development Program. I had the opportunity to participate in that, but I was able to plan when I applied for it around when my husband and I felt comfortable with me leaving my children for a decent period of time. So it's just been amazing to be able to really put both the personal and the professional together, and to also have people in my career and my life that have been willing to sit down and help me work through that. So it's just wonderful that you can balance the two because all of the tools are available to do that.
Thank you, ma'am. And Ms. Cruz.
Thank you. So I mentioned earlier that my husband was active duty when I came into contracting. He was PCS down to Maxwell Air Force Base, and that's how I got to Gunter. And we made a decision while he was there that he was going to get out of the Air Force. And so we have been at Gunter for many years now. And knowing that there's not a lot of opportunities at Gunter, some of the senior leaders in contracting gave me a unique opportunity at a time when I really needed it. And so I went through the vectoring process and answered the questions very honestly. I was not mobile at that time, but I was interested in senior leadership down the road. And so I was given an opportunity to do program management for several years and get a certification in a different functional area. And that really was critical to me at the time they offered it to me, because I was kind of burnt out. I needed to do something a little bit different, but I knew I wasn't mobile. And so having senior leaders that understand where you are in your career field and will support you has been so important to me in staying with the Air Force. And it was so good when I came back to contracting, because I had a different perspective and I really had a much better appreciation for the program managers and what their stressors are and how I could better support them from a contracting perspective.
Thank you. And Mr. Agnew.
Yeah, so totally agree with the importance of the life-work balance, the job selection and where you take your career at different points in your life. You got to weigh those decisions in there with what's going on in your life. So a young single person maybe can get on a hot program in the black world and travel all the time. And then maybe gets married and has some kids and really to keep that balance doesn't want to be gone that much. So maybe working with mentors and leadership to find a better suited job for that period of your life, and always be aware of what's going on in your life when you're making career decisions and vice versa. They got to work together. So that's from my experience.
And Ms. Tillman.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, just to piggyback off of what really, just a really great example of how much opportunity is out there for our workforce in the different phases of their life as we talk, right, just as a small group about all the different phases that we've gone through in our life and different opportunities that we've had. A big thing, for myself was I had my personal goals were led to very intentional professional goals. We had, my husband was military for a while, so that factored into it as well. And after he retired, that kind of opened up some opportunities and young children and trying to manage school and, not wanting to move them around too much. And that all factored into my decision making and what jobs were best for me at that particular time. And working with my supervisors and mentors that I had. And the thing that was really great was through that entire process, and I look back on my career to this date, is that not only did I feel valued in talking to them, but I felt like my family was valued, and what was important to my family and what was being impacted to them was taken into consideration as I was working through, plans for my next job. So that was always really good communication with mentors and supervisors. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to the next question. And I just wanted to find out, aside from daily work activities, what recommendations would you make to people who are looking for more personal fulfillment in their careers, opportunities that they should take, say, in training or experiential opportunities or things of that nature? And let's go with Ms. Cruz to start.
Well, I think for personal fulfillment, you really have to do a little bit of just self-reflection. Figure out what it is that you really enjoy today, what makes you happy, and then where do you want to end your career? That's kind of what I've done is I look ahead and I think, what do I want to leave on this career field? How do I want to impact it? And then I kind of start working my goals backwards. So I would encourage people to just look at themselves, look at what makes them happy and the impact that they want to have at the end of the day, and seek advice from mentors and also take advantage of vectoring. I think those two things are really, really important and have had very positive impacts on my career.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And let's hear from Ms. Markman too.
Sure. I mean, I think what I would say is that the Air Force just offers a ton of opportunities for different things and ways to become part of your team in different ways. We have brown bag lunches. We have special programs that you can go on. I know that each of the air bases, the wings, have special outreach things you can volunteer with other people that you work with or people you don't work with so that you can meet folks who are not on your programs. I know a big part for me sometimes is just taking that break volunteering and going and working on one of the special programs that happens. I know, for instance, the Girl Scouts do a cookie drive, and we send a ton of cookies overseas to all the folks on the front lines. And that's a great thing. I take an opportunity to go and do that. So I would just say, look at the full breadth of what is offered, not just within your organization, but what the base also puts forward and really works to make available for you out there.
Thank you. Mr. Agnew.
Yeah, so I think nobody should be bored in their job. If you don't have a passion for getting up in the morning and coming to work, and if it's not fun for you, then you need to take the initiative to find a different atmosphere, different job, different opportunity. And because there's countless opportunities out there. And so there's no excuse for somebody not striving for that real personal fulfillment from their job. So, get out of your comfort zone, move to a new opportunity, take on new challenges, and have fun.
That's great. And Ms. Tillman.
Hi, yeah. Some of the CDE programs are a really great opportunity too. I know Ann had mentioned that about local stuff, different things across the base outside your organization, but even the formal education too. Not necessarily the long-term programs, but even some of the classes are really just great tools for some of that self-reflection that Cindy was talking about, and helping you to grow as a leader, as a peer, and understanding where you are in your career and where you want to be. Just some really great resources through those programs as well.
Mr. Platt.
Yes, I think it's good if you avail yourselves to what is termed soft skills, being able to get along with people real well. And I think it was already mentioned about the self-reflecting, taking courses or availing yourselves the tools to help you understand how other people view you as you go through your career. And as you progress, you really want to think in terms of leadership. So availing yourselves to different forms of leadership training. And I think I've heard it mentioned as well. I know that term mentor, depending on who's using it and how you're using it, it's not always received well. But I think you should look out to get some senior person that you feel comfortable with, such that you don't have to call them a mentor, but someone that you can talk to help you deal with the challenges of work life. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And Ms. Smith?
Thank you. I think first, taking a personal assessment of your goals, your personal goals and your career goals. And what I find is becoming a technical expert by just honing your technical skills. I think that builds confidence and then also leads to some form of personal fulfillment as well. Embracing those opportunities that come your way, be it rotations, special assignments, training, and just keeping a positive attitude, understanding the importance of relationships, the importance of work-life balance, and having a focus or hobby outside of work. Because that day-to-day work can be stressful, but having a focus outside of work can also bring you balance and personal fulfillment as well. Over.
Thank you. Mr. Wyman?
Sure, I just was going to echo two pieces. One, the CDE, I agree. That's probably been the most enlightening for me in terms of both understanding how folks view me and then exploring my leadership style and developing that. The other is with the experiential assignments and details. I personally have benefited from that and gone to join a leadership team for an entirely different center on a 4-month detail at a time when my family wasn't mobile, but I could still go and be away for, a period of time experience something new and really gain a perspective that I just wouldn't have had I not thrown my hand up at that opportunity.
And Mr. Pace, would you like to add to that?
Sure. I think the Air Force and the experience that you take from all the training they provide, whether it be your technical skills or your soft skills, equip you, I think, with a unique set of skills that you can take outside of work and impact a community, helping others to see their potential, helping them to find a career path. I think there's a lot of people that need that kind of assistance. And so that's kind of where it speaks to me. I mean, and there's a certain amount of fulfillment in that kind of feeds you, I think, when you go back to your daily work activities. And when I think of opportunities, I've always taken kind of inventory of what's available around me, whether it's at Wright-Patterson, or with an LCMC. LCMC, I believe, has like 78 different locations. I think, what is it? It's over 40 directorates and 96 occupational series. So there's just a lot right at our fingertips within either our location or our center. And then you've got the big Air Force. And it's even bigger. And it goes beyond that into Department of Defense. Most of this relates to a solid story for me of a young lady I was mentoring, and she came to me and she's wanting to get back to her home state in Minnesota. And, I had some discussions with her, and she quite talented young lady. And, there's not a lot of government work there and within the Air Force that does the kind of HR work that we do. But I was able to help her line up a job working in staffing here at Wright-Patterson. She worked there for 2 years and then found out that she did get hired on with the Department of, it was the Army Corps of Engineers, actually. And she got on there doing staffing work. So, I was able to vector her to a place where she got a different set of skills available that was maybe a little bit more geographically available than what she was doing in the current job. I count that as a win, because otherwise I think she would have just at some point separated and moved back home. And she not only was an outstanding staffer for the 2 years she was here, but now she's supporting another, department. So, my preference is the Air Force, and I love the center I work in. But there are ways to broaden your experience and then still impact within the government. And I love that.
Yep, that's great. It's a great example. So we're getting near to the end, and before we finish up, just want to go around and see if there's anything that you want to add or anything that we've perhaps missed out that you think is important to note. And we'll start with Ms. Levine.
So just to share, part of the point of these podcasts really is to talk about these career paths, right? And you hear over and over, you're the one who's responsible for your career, but I've seen it over and over in my own career. So you take a tool like these career paths and you sit down with mentors or supervisors, somebody that you trust, and you can really chart out what you want to do based on your goals, both professionally and personally. The trick is to know yourself and to take and bounce those goals, those needs, those strengths, the weaknesses where you want to grow, and bounce that off of the wide variety of opportunities that you have to get where you ultimately want to go.
Thank you. Ms. Smith?
Yes, I think your experience in finding personal fulfillment, it is personal and it evolves over time. When I look back over my career, my personal goals and my career choices, they've changed. At the beginning of my career, I wasn't looking for a leadership position. But as I evolved throughout my career, I found that that is where I have found my greatest fulfillment. And that is helping others, serving others, and just shaping the career of some other individual. And it's a way for me to pay it forward as well. Over.
Thank you. Mr. Pace.
Yeah, I agree with both those comments. Really, I wanted to jump on the end of what Heather was saying about kind of taking personal responsibility, taking inventory of what's within the realm of possibility. You know your strengths and your weaknesses. Consider the personal, factors. Is like, am I geographically mobile? What do I reasonably see myself attaining? I think it's critical too that you take personal responsibility for finding the right people to talk to, and having those conversations so you can get good, honest feedback on whether, what you're thinking is even within, if it sounds reasonable, to kind of get a sound check on that. But lastly, I think it's personal responsibility in not only plotting out what you think you might like to do and at least coming up with what the right next step is, but it's also like definitely performing and making an impact where you're at right now. Because I think more than anything, it's the difference you make in the job you're in that opens the doors for that next right job. I can't tell you enough that it was, I think, my performance, my motivation, and the impact I was having in the job I was currently in that opened up the opportunity in the future. And so I think that's the way I look at it. I think so much of this hinges on you taking inventory of what it is you want and then working with others to get a good vector check on that and then applying yourself.
Mr. Platt?
Thank you. Actually, John said exactly what I wanted to say there, but I just echo that and saying that it is cliche as it may sound, doing the best job you can in your current job will open doors for you. I've seen many times, even for myself and others, people that do good work, they get recognized and things open up for them. They don't really have to plan. They have options, they have alternatives. And not just, they have good alternatives, put it that way. It's because they were recognized as being an enthusiastic persons that will get the job done. And so I think that's key for any of us or anyone that's aspiring. Do the best that you can in the job that you have. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Smith?
I just want to echo on that as well, because most of the opportunities that came my way were from people that recognized my performance. And they would send me a note and tell me, Jean, you need to apply for that, or Jean, you should consider this. It wasn't always that I was chasing after that next opportunity or promotion. It was those mentors and others that saw my performance and the good job and the value I could offer, and then recommended me or either tried to encourage me to apply for other jobs and opportunities.
Thank you. Mr. Baumann?
Yeah, I want to add to that a little bit. And sometimes we get comfortable with where we are, and there's a little apprehension at times to reach out or to move on and try to find something that maybe even a little bit more headache for us going forward. But I think the key is to be flexible. Don't close doors until you have to. So if there's something out there you're not sure about, go try it. At least apply, see what happens. It may be something that surprises you, that is something that does give you fulfillment. Also, we talked a little bit, there's been talk about the balance of work life and personal life. I think lately I've heard more of it's more of a harmony versus a balance. It's hard to find that scale that's even balance, but it's trying to find that harmony where you're taking care of yourself and your family, and you're looking at and paying attention to those the physical and the mental and the spiritual aspects of our lives as well. and to try to keep ourselves as balanced as possible. Taking that leave when you can, or taking that leave that you're given to recharge. I think everyone needs that, and it is a benefit to the Air Force as a whole for people to take care of themselves and to be the best they can be every day.
And Mr. Agnew.
Yeah, so bringing it back to the career guides that were developed, those were clearly developed from a professional growth and advancement perspective, and obviously don't have anything to do with your personal life. So as you look through those, finding your path is very dependent on your definition of personal fulfillment. So, there's been people that I've worked with, engineers that, liked just working the details in a program office and had no desire to supervise anybody, had no desire to move up to the bigger picture, just love that kind of work. And they did a great job, and their contributions were immense to the Air Force. And they retired as a GS-13, and that is perfectly fine and a great successful career. So that's an example where they put their personal fulfillment into the equation to figure out their path. So just be aware of that when you plot out your path. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Those are great words. Ms. Markman, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Well, I think listening to everybody and listening to them all talking about their opportunities and what their thoughts, I would say what comes to me over and over again is how dedicated they are to the mission, and how important that is, that we're making a difference and impacting the mission. And then the other thing is listening to them talk about mentors and teams. I think, you hear a lot about reaching out, finding people. They don't have to be formal mentors, people to talk to, people to help, and be creative, try new things. So I think I've heard everybody talk a little bit about each of those things, and I would encourage folks. Remember, we work for one of the finest organizations in the world, and we have some of the greatest people who work on our team. So we're very lucky to have these kinds of opportunities that fulfill both our personal and our professional lives.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us today on Leadership Log. That concludes our discussion. I really appreciate everyone's participation, your time, and look forward to hearing from you all in future podcasts as we move forward. Thanks again.